Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Oh, we are ready with a good show for you today. And I'm not going to attempt to anger people here in the opening comments, but I may. I'm not attempting to do that. So stick around. I've got a really good reason for what it is that I'm doing and what we're going to talk about here at the start of the show. It's going to be really, really, really tasty. We've got some good topics on the broadcast today, including Dan Bongino teasing that he's coming back. Does that mean he'll be back on KCMO Talk Radio? We're not sure. No real details on what he's doing. He says he has some announcements coming up. We'll talk about that later in the show. We're going to get into this Darren Peterson saga because this again, transcends sports and X's and O's. We've got a problem that's going to wind up, amazingly, college athletics is a disaster. And the NCAA is so bad at what they do, and colleges are in such disarray, that they're actually going to help ask Congress to help them. Like, if you're asking D.C. to fix your problem, you're really inept. And Darren Peterson is becoming the poster player for some of the trouble in college basketball anyway this year. We saw plenty of it in college football. This is not necessarily new, but it's and you know what? It's hitting Bill Self in a hard way. I can't believe the people that are coming after Bill Self over this thing. We'll get into that all ahead on the broadcast. Probably spend a couple of minutes talking about J.D. Vance's home being vandalized or attacked. The home was attacked by a man named William who goes by a nickname, but it's not Bill. It's all ahead on Uncanceled. We start today with what the hell is going on in Missouri. Okay, and I've run this risk my entire career. When I start talking, I went to Kansas State. So if I say something bad about KU basketball or, something about Mizzou, people are, oh, you're just a K-State guy. And so a lot of this news stuff is new to me. I don't get much of this on the podcast side. The radio audience is completely different. The reaction I've gotten from the radio audience about the Chiefs moving to Kansas has been over the top insane. I don't get it, especially when you're arguing for Kansas City. You're like, this is Kansas City. We live in Kansas City. Do you not take pride in the fact that everybody that lives in Liberty or Lee's Summit or Lenexa says they're from Kansas City? Can you not take pride in that? Is that not good enough that we all say we're from Kansas City no matter where we go? We've got a problem in this town, and I'm going to say this, and I know this is going to make people angry, but I only give you the opinions that I believe. Our problem is on the Missouri side. We got a guy in the Missouri State Senate that wants to enact 3 bills in Jeff City to basically just go after the Chiefs and Chiefs fans that are going to go to Arrowhead the next 5 years, the next 4 years. He wants you to pay more to go to Arrowhead, like as a punishment tax, like you're punishing the Chiefs. This is what he wants. He wants them to pay for a stadium that Jackson County owns. This is absurd. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's sour grapes. I've had a lot of buddies. I've known a lot of people in my life, guys, that are jilted by a woman that didn't act this crazy. Okay, like distraught, like don't know where to turn, like married dudes with some kids figure it out with their ex-wife and it's going to be okay for the benefit of the kids. Let me tell you who the kids are. All right, all you people in Missouri that want vengeance against the Chiefs right now. Let me tell you who the kids are. The kids are the 2.4 million people that live in the entire metropolitan area. And beyond that, another 2, 3, 4, 5 million that live within, a couple hundred miles in every direction. A lot of Chiefs fans in St. Louis. All of them. This is ridiculous. The Kansas City City Council is considering taking back what they've already offered the Hunt family for the development on the plaza that needs to be done. The plaza needs to be saved. And if the government's involved with the Hunt family saving the plaza, let's do it. There's a $100 million tech facility going in at the airport that the Hunts are building. And, of course, they're going to make a pile of money. And, yes, there's tax incentives on this. You want to rip that away now? We don't want to fix the plaza. We don't want the tech center at the airport. Okay? We don't want any of these good things for Kansas City, Missouri, because the Chiefs left for Kansas. I mean, my God, what are you people thinking? You want some sort of retribution against the Chiefs? You think you're going to hurt Clark Hunt and his family by doing this? You're only going to hurt yourself. And that's not even the big picture. That's enough of a story. Okay, that's enough of an opening monologue for a radio show. I've made my case. You're just going to hurt yourself. You don't want to fight with this family. They're doing great things in this city. If they're willing to put, $500 million or $700 or $800 million into the plaza, and they want to be the owners, and I know that's his uncle, but Clark Hunt's family's involved in this thing too. If they want to put that money into the plaza, let's let them give this a try. Instead of asking Mayor Q to make the plaza safe, let's try the Hunts. Anybody want to try that? You want a new $100 million tech center by the airport? It's what everybody in America is doing. It's where you create jobs. It's how you make money. It's taxes. It's all kinds of good things for Kansas City, Missouri. Let the Hunts do it. Don't take this away from them. Are you kidding me? Let me just ask you this. Where would Kansas City, Missouri be without the Hunt family? And I'm not, listen, I've never been known as some mouthpiece for the Chiefs, okay? That's not my grift, right? And I've got no reason to just stand here and espouse all of the great virtues of the Hunt family because they are ruthless business people. I get it. They're about profits and Jesus, and that's it, man. They're about profits and Jesus. That's their thing. Great. There are worse things to aspire to in this world than to be dedicated to your Lord and Savior and to have a business by definition that is there to make money. All right, those aren't the worst insults you can give to people. But while we're talking about governments handing out money and helping them, whatever, that's Clark Hunt in a nutshell. He loves Jesus and he loves money. That's it. Where would we be in this town without this family? Some 60-odd years ago, Lamar Hunt moved his flailing team from Dallas to Kansas City, played in Municipal Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, built Arrowhead Stadium, owned by Jackson County, and played there for what's going to be close to 70 years, 65, 68 years they're going to play here. So what happened at that time? Oh, we lost our baseball team. The A's left in the 60s. And pretty soon after that, we got a Major League Baseball team. We got the Royals. Would we have gotten the Royals if there were no NFL team in this town? That's a question. Would Major League Baseball have said yes to Ewing Kauffman and allowed him to start a baseball team if Lamar Hunt wasn't here playing football? My answer is no. Now, I was in diapers, so I don't know the landscape of the whole thing then, but my answer would be no. There's no NFL team. There's no professional team here. Everything that's been here has failed. No, we're not going to do baseball again. Your baseball team just left you. There's no reason to be in Kansas City. We wouldn't have worlds of fun. We wouldn't have oceans of fun. We wouldn't have any of these things without the Hunt family. We wouldn't have Hunt Midwest Underground. We wouldn't have their commercial real estate developments that they've had. We wouldn't have several neighborhoods in Kansas City that were built by the Hunt family. This city has a Major League Baseball and an NFL football team. It is one of the defining points of our city. When you travel, if you travel, you know this. People ask you about the Chiefs. They ask you about the Royals. They don't ask you about City Hall. They don't ask you about the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. They don't ask you about the badminton birdie on the front lawn. They don't ask about that. They ask about the sports teams. Folks, we're the number 31 TV market in America. We are behind Portland, Raleigh, Hartford, Sacramento, Orlando, Nashville, and a handful of other cities, 10 of them total, that are bigger than Kansas City, that do not have Major League Baseball and NFL teams. Shut up, Missouri. Shut up. The team is staying no matter what happens. Nobody cares where that stadium is. I don't care that it's in Kansas. I couldn't give two rips. I'm just the guy that told you it was going to happen because I know Clark Hunt. He loves money. They're giving him $2.8 billion. He was always going to take it. If you want to be mad at the guy, somebody get with him or corner him somewhere in public and ask him why he was so full of crap from day one about renovating Arrowhead. Why did you lie to us? Why did you string us along? Why did you tell us you were even considering renovating Arrowhead? Because they never considered it. They sabotaged that vote with the Royals. They never wanted it to pass. They never proposed anything in the renovation that looked anything like a real renovation. Nothing. A walkway from the parking lot to the stadium. That's what they were going to build. And new jumbotrons. That was their renovation? Ridiculous. The whole thing was preposterous. Yes, that's what they do in business. They keep everybody happy until the decision has to be made. And then, boom, they do what they were going to do from the start. After they get the best damn deal they could possibly get from Kansas. And they got it. They got the best deal of any team, anytime, anywhere in the United States. And if the Royals have screwed the pooch and blown that, that's on the Royals. I don't think they have. I don't think they're dead in Kansas. I think there's legal machinations that they have that they could still be in Kansas. But I'd be thrilled if they were in North Kansas City. I've said from the beginning that's where I want them, is right across the river from downtown. That looks like a great place for a ballpark and a neighborhood and an environment. I don't do the Missouri versus Kansas thing. I don't care. Okay? And I know I'm making a lot of you mad in Missouri, but you politicians, especially Republicans, stop. We're used to Democrats being fools and making idiots of themselves. You don't need 3 bills in Jefferson City to cut the Chiefs off at the knees and try to tell them that they have to pay for this thing on their way out. They don't. They've brought so much to your state, so much to your county, and so much to your city over the last 65 years. You should be cutting ribbons and celebrating and having parades for them and thanking them for being here as long as they were. Water parks, theme parks, investments, the plaza, the tech center, the Chiefs. I know people who live in Hunt neighborhoods and in commercial buildings. What about the other families? What other families had more? These are Texans, folks. And they've had more of an impact positively on Kansas City than any other family. Kaufman family, great. We have the Kaufman Center, and they had the Royals, and they were great. Their run's over. They're not really, they're rich and they're philanthropic. I'm not saying bad things about anybody here. The Hall family, philanthropic, great. But come on, Hallmark's not the Chiefs. It's not. None of these things are. Neil Patterson, Cliff Illig built Cerner into what they built. They bought Sporting Kansas City and built a stadium. Where's Cliff Illig these days? In his billions of dollars, is he renovating the plaza? I don't see Cliff Illig doing that. You know what I see him doing? Sitting behind home plate at Kauffman Stadium, eating hot dogs, and living the good life because he's a billionaire. Good for him. I know the man. Good for him. Playing golf in Scottsdale, hanging out at Allen Fieldhouse, building his compound out south. But I don't see him fixing the plaza. I don't see any of these billionaires in our town doing any of this crap. I don't see the Royals doing it. Anybody in their ownership group doing it? I don't see that. It's the Hunt family. You hate on these people all you want. Kansas City needs the Hunt family, whether you like it or not. Whether he gets great deals, and I got problems with the Chiefs right and left. I got a million grievances and problems with the way they do things. This city needs them. This 2.4 million people, we need them. We don't want to be Portland. What changed over the 60-some years since Lamar Hunt moved here? What changed with the Chiefs in Jackson County and Kansas City, Missouri? I'll tell you what changed. Politics changed. A bunch of absolute lunatics took over the entire county and the entire city and went from having Republican mayors that were doing great things, that it was all great, to just a crap show. Okay? So vote better. Don't bitch about Clark Hunt. Don't bitch about the Chiefs moving to Kansas. This is stupid. This is counterproductive for our community. We are all one. There's 2.5 million of us. Let's get along. It doesn't do any good to go after Clark Hunt. 913-408-7957 if you'd like to join the conversation. If you're in Missouri and you're really mad at me, I'll put you right to the front of the line. I get it. I understand what I'm saying can be hurtful to you. But we need to clear the air on this town and what's good for us and what's good for our community. There is no family in this city more important, doing more things than the Hunt family. And we've got to recognize that. These are not people you want to just tick off and have them go somewhere else. 913-408-7957 is our number. Don't forget to listen today. The keyword 4 times a day. Ours happens around 10:30. So be listening then. We'll give you the keyword today to text to 95819 for the Stagecoach Music Festival in California, where you can meet and greet superstar Riley Green. It's all ahead on Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
From Gladstone to Gardner, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
So I'm really serious about this topic today, and I don't sit around all day trying to think of something bombastic to start the show with. You know that, because if you listen every day, you know that a lot of days it's just very calm. It's not personal. It's not upsetting the apple cart. I try to be positive. We cannot do this. We cannot have this in Kansas City anymore. We've got to find a way to stop, and the Chiefs have really exacerbated the problem here, not really by doing anything wrong, but by picking the wrong state and against the wrong state. I believe this is a really one-sided thing, and we got to get past it. This football team is good for this community. I don't care where they play, okay? I just knew where the money was, and there was no way the Chiefs were going to take less money and renovate a 60-year-old stadium as opposed to building a brand-new shiny palace with $2.8 billion from the state of Kansas. And the same people that can't believe they left are the ones that are saying, oh, Kansas is so stupid for giving that much money. Well, it can't be both now, can it? All right, to the phones we go. I've said my piece. Here is Wes in Gladstone. Good morning, Wes. You're on Uncanceled. How are you, sir?
Yeah, this all goes back to the line from The Godfather. This is not personal. This is business, okay? I'd be curious to know where that guy in Jeff City, what part of the state he's from, because something tells me he's probably not from this side of the state. And I think anything that they might pass, I would hope that Kehoe would veto. And let's face it, Jeff City makes Washington, D.C. look like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, that may be the case. I'll also say this, and I'm certainly not a lawyer, but it seems to me that even if they did pass it and they're asking the Chiefs to pay for all this stuff, they have a contract. It's going to wind up just being a legal battle. And you know what the Chiefs do? They win all the legal battle. If they go to court because they have a contract, the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, like you said, to be mad at the Hunts. I mean, it's just because all the things that you talked about that they've done for the metro area, they have been a blessing here.
They have. I rattled off these towns, man. You don't want to be these other cities. Portland, Raleigh, Hartford, Sacramento, Orlando, Nashville. They're all bigger than Kansas City, and they don't have Major League Baseball and NFL teams, both. They don't.
Yeah,
and the other cities that are close to us are Columbus, Salt Lake, Greenville, Grand Rapids, Birmingham. No, Kansas City is seen completely different from those towns.
Nashville would love to have a baseball team. Don't forget that.
Right. So we better keep the Royals, and if that means Kansas, let's do it.
Yep.
Good 100%. One, Wes.
100%.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. And living in Gladstone, I hope the Royals are close to you, man. I think that North Kansas City side is awesome, but they're going to need an offer. They don't have an offer in Missouri, folks. Let's not forget that. Everybody keeps saying, oh, Missouri's doing this and that. Well, no, there's nothing on the ballot. They haven't said they want anything on the ballot. There is no offer in Missouri for the Royals today. There's nothing. There's a theory. There's a mechanism where the state will kick in 50% if somebody somewhere in Missouri does something for the Royals. But right now, nobody's doing anything for the Royals. Here's Jeff in Kansas City, Kansas. Good morning, Jeff. You're on KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, man. I want to get educated a little bit better about the Star Bond deal. If the way I'm understanding it, if it's so great to have the Chiefs move to the Kansas side, where's the benefit to the residents of Wyandotte County? Because from everything I keep seeing is all the Star Bond or all the tax money and everything else, pretty much, and anything that comes to Wyandotte County for the next 30, 40 years, all that tax money is going to go to pay the Star Bond. So it's going to be a net drain on all the residents of Wyandotte County.
Have you ever been out to the Legends area?
Yeah, I live about 2 miles away from there. I live about 4 miles from the new
So every
stadium.
single nickel that comes out of that right now is going to the state of Kansas because almost all the Star Bonds are paid off. They're settled with the Speedway. They're settled with Sporting. They're settled with everyone out there. So it's nothing but just an economic engine for the state of Kansas in a place, Kansas City, Kansas, and Wyandotte County, which was once thought of to be basically the armpit of our community where nobody would do business, correct?
Yeah.
I'd say it's worked.
But
has it worked or not? It's a simple question. Has it worked or not?
There's a lot of Star Bond money that needs to be paid off still.
Not much.
That's what I'm
Not much. A lot of new stuff.
a few like $5 or something, $500
Mark,
million.
can I get
That's
another
not
minute
much.
here, buddy? Because I don't want to rush
Sorry.
Jeff off. Jeff's making some great points here, and I want to give him his full time. Go ahead, sir.
No, now I'm only getting a little bit of information from here and there. So, but from what I understand is there's over $500,000 worth or $500 million worth of star bonds that still need to be paid off. So, I see it still as a net drain because all the infrastructure and everything else is going to be maintained by my tax dollars, not by the tax dollars that's going to be generated out there.
Okay, you're talking about Wyandotte County taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. No, those are all good points. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And we all have this where we live. When things happen around us, whatever, if you're taxed on it, and I don't know what the Wyandotte County tax situation is to take care of the Legends area. I don't know what that is. If he's talking about his property taxes, we're all dealing with that. Everybody's taxes seem to be going up. We need to vote better. And if you hate these things, vote these people out. In the case of Kansas, it was Republicans and Democrats. They were all together on this one. Uncanceled continues after the news.
Hey, it's Vince Gallane's Catch My News Show at 11 o'clock after Kevin Kietzman on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Ooh, how about this mess with Hilton Hotels in Minneapolis? If you haven't been following this at all, hotels in Minneapolis that were owned by a certain franchisee. This is an owner. You own a hotel, but you have the Hilton brand on your hotel, but Hilton doesn't own it. It's like owning McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't own it. You own it. And these Hampton Inns and whatnot in Minneapolis were turning away DEA, FBI, DHS officials over these Somali investigations for all the fraud. And so an undercover dude went in there after they said yesterday, oh, we've lifted that. We're open to everybody. We're not going to, we're good. We're going to take care of this. And a guy goes in and makes a video and says, I'm with the government. Can I get some rooms? And the dude's like, how many do you need? He goes, 10. He'd already looked. There were 10 rooms. What agency are you with? He says, Homeland Security. He goes, yeah, we don't do that here. So they're done. Hilton has issued a statement now that this owner of at least one Hampton Inn has lost his right to call himself a Hampton Inn or a Hilton. They have stripped it from him. It's over. Hilton's got a Bud Light problem on their hand, and it was getting ready to go fast. They must be sending out to all their franchisees, do not do this. Do not play this game. We will strip you of the brand. So at least one Hampton Inn by Hilton is no longer a Hampton Inn by Hilton. Good for them. Way to go, Hilton Corp. Back to the phones we go. We got Mark in Kansas City, Kansas, joining us on KCMO Talk Radio. Good morning, Mark. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Kevin. How are you this morning?
Fine, thank you.
Hey, well, I live out there by the racetrack, and when they put the racetrack in, my taxes, and I've got some property, my taxes were only $3,300 a year.
Mm-hmm.
After the racetrack got put in, my taxes doubled, and I went to protest, and the gentleman at the appraiser's office pulled out a map that looked like a dartboard, with bullseyes and things. He said, well, you live right here. Your property's more valuable than everybody out here. I'm like, only if somebody comes along and wants to buy it and build something. But my taxes have gone up every single year forever. And I'm right at paying almost $12,000 a year now for my property taxes. And
okay, that stinks. Let me say this, because I go through this a lot. I've talked to my neighbors about this. We've had the Jackson County, Missouri issue with property taxes. They're all enraged. My taxes have gone through the roof in Lenexa and in Johnson County. Johnson County is flush with cash that they don't know what to do with. They're trying to build homeless shelters and crap with all this money they have because they valued our property at more. My house, I've only been in it 4 years. My house, according to Zillow or some of these other things or whatever, has gone up about 30-some% in 4 years. So I'm not going to complain about paying more taxes. All right, that's my retirement money. That's amazing. When you live somewhere that is desirable and the value of your land or your property goes up, that is a first world problem. That's something you want. Would you rather your land be worthless and pay less tax?
I would rather. Well, my point is on this is that if you read the agreement, I'm sure you have, $159 million is the payment per year after the fourth year that the Chiefs occupy the stadium. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Chiefs fan, but I don't see how the state of Kansas is going to be able to build enough stuff out there, or in the area to make up this huge loan payment.
I'm not going to make that argument either, but you know what? People are going to buy the bonds and invest like smart people. Clark Hunt's probably going to buy a bunch of these bonds. They're going to buy them.
Right. Yeah.
So those people think it's going to get done and they're going to get paid back and they're going to get their percentage on their bond money. But I want to go back to your original issue. Your original issue is that this has bothered you, the Star Bonds, they're building this stuff and your taxes went up. It's a basic fundamental question. I don't know how old you are, what your future is, or what your thoughts are. You sound to me like a guy. Do you live on this property?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sound to me like a guy that wants to live there the rest of your life, right?
Pretty much. It's a desirable piece of property, but it's not. It's all woods, but I hunt on it, so that's one thing. But
you got us all beat, buddy. You're living the good life, okay? And I know the taxes suck, but your land's worth a hell of a lot more now in Wyandotte County than it would have been if there were no Star Bonds. And I'm not going to ask you to disclose on the air how much your land is worth, but let's say it was worth $100 before the Speedway was built. It's probably worth $500, $600, $700 now. Am I making any sense?
Yes, you're
Okay.
correct. It's
so
gone up.
so
in
if your
value.
property has gone up 5 or 6 fold since they came in, I think you better count your blessings and pay your taxes.
Well, I'm retired now, so
Okay.
it gets a little more of a struggle.
I understand. I totally get it. There are ways to get money out of your property as well. Could you sell a parcel of it?
No, I can't sell. I can't sell it because there's no. The way my land sits, there's no access to the back part of it. So I've tried that before, and the surveyors just said, "Nah, you can't do it. There's no way
I got
of
like
building a road back there." Or
6 phone lines here. I'll bet you if I ask people to call in that want to buy some of that hunting land from you, I can fill up the board, and every single one of them will make you an offer.
I get people, come out. Hey, can I hunt on your land? Because we have taken several large bucks out there.
There
We're
you
right
go.
by Camp Nash.
There you go.
So, and they're
So
yeah.
let's find our common ground, Mark. Okay, we've both done well in real estate, and property taxes suck.
Yeah.
Okay,
We both
and that's the
agree on
bottom
that.
line. And I love Ron DeSantis and what he's doing in Florida, and he wants to get rid of property taxes. And maybe Florida can do that, and Kansas and Missouri can't because of all the tourism and the other ways for them to get money from people that don't live there. But Trump's talking about this on a national level, doing something with property taxes, like making them illegal or something. I don't know how the federal government can keep my county from taxing me on property, but I can't imagine our founding fathers got together and started a country and said, here's the deal. We're all going to get to own our own property, and then the government's going to make you pay tax for owning it. I don't think our founding fathers thought that through.
No, I don't think so either.
And I don't think they thought through, because we went 150 years without paying income tax. I don't think they ever thought, oh, let's let people work for themselves and start their own companies and make whatever they want. And then we'll punish them for working and making money. We'll tax them on their riches. It's insane.
Yeah.
The whole thing's insane. This is all government out of control. It really isn't about the star bonds or the chiefs. It's out of control government. And we have voted so poorly for so long in this country. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, me too. I agree with you.
All right, buddy. Great call. We found a lot of common
Hey,
ground
have
there.
a great night.
Thank you. You
Yeah.
too, man. I appreciate that. That's a good dude. I am not much of a marksman or hunter, but I'd go hunting with him anytime. That sounds fun. And Mark, if you ever want to take me up on that, give me a call back, and I'll open the phone lines, and we'll just do the bidding on here and sell off a parcel of your hunting land. There's plenty of dudes that have more money than land, or the land that they have is, 5 times as far away as the land that you have. They would love to come shoot bucks on your land, I feel sure. That is a great, as we say, that's a great first world problem. And it is. But your property taxes going up, again, what was just pointed out with that call was, oh, Kansas is crazy for doing this. What in the world's Kansas doing? The Chiefs are. Well, look what's happened. They've taken an undesirable part of the Kansas City metropolitan area and made it desirable. They've made it desirable to businesses, to companies who want to develop real estate. They've done all this. This thing's a winner. I don't care about adding up the numbers, whatever. I keep going back to this, and nobody wants to hear it. Kansas is a shrinking state. Missouri is not. Missouri has all kinds of things Kansas does not have. They have tourism like crazy. People go to St. Louis to see the Arch. To this point, they've come to Kansas City to go to sporting events. They've got Branson, all the shows, all the lakes, the Lake of the Ozark. My God, just the real estate. And the boat sales around the Lake of the Ozarks. Can you imagine what an economic engine that is for the state of Missouri that Kansas doesn't have? Missouri's got twice as many people. That's a lot more money. Kansas needs to do anything it can. That's why they're desperate and they do this stuff. You can mock them, you can make fun of them, and you can say they're fools for doing it, and it'll never pay for itself. I'm not going to disagree with any of that. This one is so much money it may not work. The others worked easily. It wasn't that much money. The Speedway wasn't built with the frills that the Chiefs are going to build. Okay, that Speedway is a big oval piece of asphalt. It's grandstands. It's got a suite level. They haven't really been renovated in 20-some years. It is a fine NASCAR facility. It's built just for what they do. But they didn't get some sort of blank check from the state of Kansas said, you have to build $1 billion or more and we'll give you 70% and come do this, where the France family said, okay, well, let's build all kinds of stuff around this thing that we don't really need, but since Kansas is paying for it, let's do it. That's what they did with the Chiefs, and that's different. That's way different. And maybe Kansas screwed up on that particular project. But you know what they didn't screw up on? What's going to happen the next 100 years around that area. I said it. I said 100 years. All right? That doesn't mean they're playing in that stadium 100 years. But what will happen there, because of the development, will be great. The development will sprawl. More suburbs will be built. They'll probably build some golf courses. They'll build parks. It's going to be a desirable place to live. And they had an undesirable place to live. Nobody wanted to live there. You can say this. When the Star Bond started in 2000, I may be wrong. I'm not adamant about this. I'm going to go that I'm 2/3 right. When they started around late 90s, early 2000, when those started at the Legends, I-435 and I-70 in Missouri was a more desirable location than I-435 and I-70 in Kansas. You realize that's all the Chiefs are doing. They're moving from 435 and 70 to 435 and 70. That's it. That's what they're doing. Kansas has done at 435 and 70 what Missouri should have done a long time ago, and they didn't do. To the victors go the spoils, if that's the case. If you believe it's a big, giant failure and stupidity on the state of Kansas, again, I've said this, Governor Kehoe should be dancing a jig right now. Well, look at all this money we just saved. We're going to lower your income tax. Missouri's a better place to live. Thank you, Kansas, for taking the burden of this team away from us. If the team is a burden, thank them for moving. That really is where this thing sits. 913-408-7957 is the number to call if you'd like to join us. We can take your calls next. We're going to check in with Mark as well. Oh, we got quite a problem going on with Kansas basketball and this wacky player they got that doesn't seem to be able to play a full game. And Bill Self is taking the heat for it. We'll address that next.
from Leawood to Liberty. It's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Dan Bongino has teased that he's coming back as a radio host and podcaster. We'll see what that looks like. And it is an ugly post that he put up. I think he's trying to be Trump. He says, no more complaining. From all the zeros and the haters. He called him I'll call him Dip Spits. That's not what he called him. Dip Spits, come and go. I'm going to revel in making you angry. Like, he's throwing all these flames out there. He's coming back. I don't think Bongino should ever left. When he comes back, here's what he can't do. He can't complain anymore that nobody's getting prosecuted, nothing's getting done with government. Because he was there, and I don't remember the handcuffs in his tenure with the FBI. I missed that part. So I don't really get some of his style, but I do like Dan Bongino, and he may be back on this station sometime soon. We'll see. It could absolutely happen. I was also thinking about a comparison of this basketball player at Kansas to something in real life. And I remember being in college, and not every day, I lived in the dorms my first couple of years, and it was a real treat to have a couple bucks to be able to go drive through McDonald's or something. I love McDonald's French fries. And I would go and I'm going to go get the order of French fries, the one in the box, not the bag. The medium. I'm going to get a medium-sized fry, not the small one in the little white bag. And I'd drive through and I'd get them and I'd be like, oh, gosh, these are so good. But they didn't fill the carton all the way full. It's like a half-full fry carton, and I just felt so ripped off. That's KU basketball. Darren Peterson is so good, and he just doesn't play. And Bill Self, for whatever reason, I'm going to bring Mark Van Sickle in. For whatever reason, he's basically saying he's not on a restriction here. But he did say last week he was going to play about 24 minutes. There were no limits in practice. He played his 23 minutes. He scored 26 points. The guy's amazing, and it feels like the dog is wagging the tail. And now fans are really, really, really mad at Bill Self, especially younger fans. Do they have a case? Because where I'm sitting, I don't know what Bill Self can do about this. This guy's too good to kick off the team. You pretty much got to play by his rules, don't you?
Yeah, at this point, that's how it's got to go. You just can't mix up your stories like saying he's on a minutes restriction after the game, and then yesterday saying, oh, he wasn't on a minutes restriction, he just had some cramping. You got to have the same story at least.
The the writers at Rock Chalk Blog wrote about Bill Self. Everything he says contradicts what he's already said. And that's about as close as you can come to calling someone a liar. Maybe he's confused. I don't know. I never call coaches liars because I know they say things that they want the opponent or their fans to know publicly that really isn't true. That's not lying. That's part of business. It's what you do. And there's a lot of that going on right here. Let's play a clip from Thomas Robinson, a former terrific player for the Kansas Jayhawks, who was on the day after KU lost on Saturday, talking about this situation. And this is probably the most honest thing you'll hear about it.
I think with the situation yesterday, to speak on the game, I think it was something with the minute restrictions. I think it was some type of miscommunication there. And I don't want to say miscommunication, but I think to a point where maybe he got probably played too much in the first half. And then instead of versus going against what they said, they just set him at the end of the game, which was, something we had to deal with. But I definitely think there was some type of, mix up right there with how much he played in the first half because he's definitely on the minute restriction. So, like I said, once again, when you're dealing with a guy like DP, we gotta abide by all those rules and restrictions that he got against him right now because we're not just talking about a Kansas guard right now. Unfortunately, we're talking about one of the future pieces of basketball.
There you go. That's Thomas Robinson, former Kansas player, and that's exactly right. And it seems terrible to think that his camp, Darren Peterson's camp, which would be his family, his agent, who knows who else, people at an agency, are dictating to Kansas what you have. I'll ask you this, Mark. I don't have a dog in this fight, really. Is this something Kansas should avoid in the future, or do you continue to go pay the best possible player and just deal with it?
I think you keep going after the best player and just hope that he doesn't have a hamstring injury because I think that's kind of what triggered this whole thing. Now they're like extra cautious with him because of that, and then his family doesn't want him to get extra hurt. Now they're into it. So, yeah, just keep going after him. Just hopefully he doesn't get hurt.
All right, so to be clear, there is no injury now. He's not on an injury report. There's no hamstring. This was cramping again on Saturday, or they said it was cramping. They set him in a dunce chair at the end of the bench. It's ridiculous. It's a dunce chair. I don't know how else you say it.
He was rubbing his hamstrings with something. I don't know.
Are they trying to embarrass him by sitting him like that?
I think he was with the trainer, and then the trainer left. So
right.
I don't know.
And then he stayed there, and it looked silly.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're trying to embarrass him. I don't know what exactly is going on with this player, but this is not what college athletics needs to be. And it's not. We've complained about football all year. Last night, Mark put me on to a game that was just terrific.
That was
Montana
amazing.
State and Illinois State played in the FCS championship. Montana State won 35-34. There were blocked kicks at the end. It was a wild, thrilling game. These kids aren't making millions. That reminded me of college athletics. Did it not remind you of college athletics?
That was amazing. And Taco got the game-winning touchdown. I mean, we kind of called it at the end of the show yesterday.
I was a loser on FanDuel, though.
Oh.
Didn't happen for me. I took Montana State laying the 10. And they had a big lead. They had the 14-point lead. It got away from them.
They blew it a little bit.
No, they definitely did. Texas Tech's quarterback, Mark, is Brendan Sorsby. He's transferring from Cincinnati in conference, transferring to Texas Tech. The billionaire down there, Landman, is paying him $5 million for 1 year. Did you see that Shedeur Sanders of the Cleveland Browns will make $4.6 million over 4 years?
That's crazy.
Texas Tech's quarterback is about to make more in 1 year than Shedeur Sanders will make in 4 with the Cleveland Browns. It is broken. And my favorite line of the week that's going to be hard to top. Matt Quatrero got a contract extension from the Royals, 3 years. Said Vinny Pasquantino of the Royals called him. He answered the phone and said, "Hey, Vinny, what's up?" Vinny said, "You're welcome."
Nice.
All in good fun. The Vince Show's coming up next. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled on KCMO.